boys and girls, but here it is. It's been a long time coming. This is lesson 9 and we're going to do it on line graphs today, boys and girls. Alright, so line graphs, when do we use them? Well, it's when we usually have lots of data and we want to present them in a nice easy way to read, that we can go, oh, look at that. There's some patterns going on there. Alright, so here's a couple of examples that I've made for you. Here's somebody's journey on the way to school and on the way back again. So normally with time graphs, you have, line graphs, you normally have time along this bottom axis called the x-axis, and you have the thing that you're measuring on the y-axis going up. So in this case, this is somebody's journey on their way to school. So you can see that they've left for school, they've had a little break, maybe to get a snack, then they've made their way to school, they've spent their time at school, and then they've made their way back. Here's another example of somebody doing some push-ups. So again, we've got time on the bottom here. So on Sunday they did 25 push-ups, then they did 15 on Monday, etc, etc. And they were lazy bones on the Friday because they did no push-ups. And you can see how line graphs are great because they can kind of see your progress over the certain amount of time. Okay, so we're going to make our own line graph now. So we need to measure something over a certain amount of time. So like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, maybe, yeah. We're going to do 5 little activities and we're going to measure our heart rate over that amount of time. We just need one person, some unsuspecting victim, to do this work for us. Who could that be? Aha! I know. It's James! Yeehaw! Ready to get active, James?
Yeah.
Of course he is. Alright, James, so first activity is you're going to lie down for 5 minutes and then we're going to measure your pulse rate. Okay? Off you go! Okay, James, I've just had a cup of coffee. It's been 5 minutes later. What is your pulse rate?
66.
Whoa, that's pretty low. Alright, next activity. Let's do it. Okay, James, your next activity is Fortnite dance moves for 5 minutes. Are you up for the challenge?
Yes.
Alright, go for it. Okay, back up. Okay, what's your pulse rate, James?
126.
126, whoa! Okay, James, your next activity is run around the garden like a crazed animal.
Okay.
Ready? Go! Alright, James, what is your... You can measure your pulse rate. What is it now?
142.
142. Alright, let's do it. Okay, James, your next activity is to eat an apple for 5 minutes. Just take a bit of a breather, alright? Okay, off you go. Alright, James, you're getting towards the end of your apple eating marathon. Can you tell the viewers, please, what your pulse rate is? Preferably with the apple out of your mouth.
100.
100? Okay. Alright, on to the last activity. You ready, James?
Yeah.
I think you'll like this one. Alright, James, you get to lie down again for another 5 minutes.
Yay.
Enjoy. Okay, James, after your 5 minutes relaxation time, what is now your pulse rate?
My pulse rate is 63.
63? Oh my word. Okay, let's put it on the line graph, shall we? Let's do it. Alright, so we've got all of James's results down. So his first activity was lying down, 66 beats per minute. Fortnite moves, 126. Crazed animal, 142. eating an apple 100 beats per minute, and lying down again was 63. He also wants to do some extra press-ups in a minute. Okay, now just before we put this data into our line graph, a good question to ask yourself right now is, why do we need to learn about line graphs anyway? And that is a really good question that I used to use all the time at school and drive my teachers insane, and it's one that I highly recommend asking. Now they should give you a good answer. If they don't, then you should be asked, yeah, why are we learning this in the first place? Now, why are we learning line graphs? There's two really important key things that we use line graphs for. The first one is quite a biggie, is that you can find patterns in the data that you've got that you might not be able to see normally. So let me give you an example. Going back to one of the line graphs that I showed you back earlier, it was about push-ups. Now let's just imagine it's not push-ups. Let's imagine it's sales, for instance, for a business. How many, what they've been selling during the week. And they might be selling, you know, quite well. They could be like selling 25 units on the Sunday, etc., etc. And they thought, right, how can we maximise our sales? And then they might put their data into a line graph like this and realise that, look, Friday and Wednesday they are not doing very well on the sales. So then the manager then might ask the team, right, what's going on Wednesdays and Fridays? Turns out that on those 2 days a particular key salesman is not working for them, or whatever. So you can see that line graphs can help you look for patterns in the data. And the second brilliant thing that line graphs do is really cool. It kind of gives you hidden information that you can't normally see with just the numbers. Let me show you with the line graph that we've made with James. Okay, so this is James's line graph, and we normally have a title on a line graph telling you what it's showing. So here's a line graph to show James's pulse rate over 25 minutes, and this is what it looks like. So along the bottom, the x-axis, spelt with a curved X for some reason, it's Greek, I think. X-axis, we've got from 0 in 5-minute intervals all the way up to 25 minutes, which is how long it took to do our activities, and we've labelled it time, and in brackets min for minutes short. And then on the y-axis, that's going upwards, we have the thing that you're measuring usually. So in this case, we've got the pulse rate, BPM, beats per minute for short. So that's how many times James' heart was beating in 1 minute. So you can see his start, it ranges from 0, which obviously that would mean he's dead. So luckily he was not. And all the way up to 200 beats per minute. His maximum beats per minute during the activity was 142, I think it was. And that's where it peaks on our line graph. So as you can see, after 5 minutes, that was our first recording when James had laid down for 5 minutes. And that was about 66 beats per minute. And then you can see in 5 minutes, if I just zoom out a little bit, from 5 to 10 minutes, you can see how the gradient or the steepness of this line graph, look how quickly it rises. That is because he's gone from just lying down and his heart hasn't had to do much work to suddenly doing all those Fortnite dance moves. He's gone right up to 128 beats per minute there. And then you can see a real sharp rise in his heartbeat. Then you can see the next 5 minutes it rises even more, but not quite as steep this time because his heart is already beating quite fast. It goes up all the way up to 142 beats per minute when he was going around like a crazed animal. Then you can see the next 10 minutes, so that's from 15 to 25 minutes, you can see it gradually reduces here because his heart doesn't have to work as much because he was eating an apple here and then he was lying down again for another 5 minutes. So let me show you the hidden data that I was talking about earlier. Alright, check this out, you ready? Alright, now even though we measured James's heart rate at every 5 minute interval, we can use the line graph to work out what his heart rate was at specific moments during the activity, even without measuring it at that precise time. So here's an example. I've just estimated here that this is about 8 minutes into the activities. You can see I've used a ruler and drawn a line all the way up to the top of that line graph, and then I've drawn a straight line going across hitting the beats per minute, the y-axis, and you can see that 8 minutes into the activities, you can see that James's heart rate was about 102 beats per minute. Now, we didn't know that at the time because he was busy, what was he doing here? Oh yeah, doing the Fortnite moves. But we can use this line graph to know exactly what his heart rate was at that precise time. Okay, here's another example, look. So about 16 minutes into the activities, I've drawn a line up, bam, hits the line graph, and then go across, bam, hits the y-axis. You can see that we're making a prediction at about 16 minutes into the activities, James's heart rate was about 135 beats per minute. And it's that kind of hidden information that make line graphs really useful to have. Okay, thank you for watching. That was our lesson number 9 on line graphs. Why don't you have a go at making one yourself at home? Maybe set up a little circuit training activity like we did with James. Anyway, enjoy and stay tuned for the next lesson.